I was coming back home one night. I went out with my friend. We were on the street, and a black boy came to us. I'm gonna say black. I don't give a fuck. It's the color of their skin. They don't mind. Only little liberal girls and soy boys care. And he approached us with a little address saying where he can find this hostel. So we were like, we'll just take you there because it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit of a complicating way. He seemed pretty tired. So we brought him to the hostel, and they said that it was full. And we asked him, what's up? What's the situation, my man? And he was like, he was supposed to meet up with one of his friends, one of his acquaintances, and his phone died, so he couldn't contact them. So we were like, it's okay, don't worry, we're gonna call some hostels. So we called a couple dozen hostels, and they either didn't respond or said they were full. So after about 40 minutes of doing this, it was pretty late, so I felt it in my heart to invite him to our place. We have an extra room, a guest room, and he could sleep there since the next day he had to leave to a city where he was studying. So we invited him to our place. I'm not gonna say his name for his own sake. And he's staying in our guest room. I threw all of his clothes inside the laundry because they were stanky and stuff. And I hung them, then he went to sleep. And the next day, whatever, I made breakfast for everybody. And that afternoon, I saw he was burdened. I can sense stuff in people, not like a magic, but you'll realize that in life. I worked in the hospitality business a lot, so I understood the looks of people and their vibe. I was like, come sit down, bro. Tell me what's the real situation. Not like that, in a more deep way. And he was like, it took some time, but I broke through. And basically, he is from Ghana. He was from Ghana in Africa, from like a tribe, a small town. Fairly decent town, I'm not sure in size, and he got a scholarship to study in Hungary where we live, and he failed. He couldn't do it. It was too difficult for him. He would smoke weed and stuff. He wouldn't study enough, and he had a really difficult time. And that's life. Sometimes you fail, and that's life. It's okay to fail, but what's important is that you get back up. And basically, he didn't have enough money to even pay for his rent, so for a few days, several days, he was homeless. He was on the street. So I sat down with him. He seemed extremely stressed. A young guy, younger than me by a few years, probably around 21, 22. And he was extremely stressed, extremely overwhelmed. And I talked with him and I prayed with him. I'm a believer. You can call me naive or foolish for bringing a stranger to my house. It could be true in many ways, but I'm a grown man. I make my own decisions. So I talked with him about the situation, everything. He didn't really have connections. He was very overwhelmed. So of course I cannot keep him at my house. He had some connections in another country of Europe, in Germany, and he didn't have money to afford a ticket or anything, and a lot of things. So I got him a ticket for Germany. I told him to organize it with other persons so he has a place to stay and everything. I gave him some of my savings. I left him with my Bible. I wrote some verses down for him which could help him because he was very filled with fear and stuff. But he was talking to me how a lot of brothers in the community, like from Africa, because he asked for help from other people, guys even on the street and stuff, like for the situation, even when he was living there, for help, and they were very cold with him. I would call him a low-tier normie out of the black community, a low-tier normie. And there was three friends of color that came one day, I guess, to help him out, or he said that was the situation, and I went downstairs to say hi to them and stuff, but they totally blew him off. They didn't want to associate with him and stuff. They could be pretty cruel, but people can be cool in general. What I understand is, okay, let's say an American colored community is a dude. If you ain't the Tyrone, you ain't shit. If you ain't the gangster, you ain't shit. And most dudes in the black community, just like IRL, but I would say even less, aren't just these actual, like, straight up Tyrones. And all the women just idolize the Tyrone. They idolize it, the gangster man. If you're a normal dude, you are kind-hearted. You may be a little bit soft, so to say. You want to chase a life of maybe like getting a good, comfortable life. Those girls ain't gonna be sleeping with you. This is what I understand. I've not experienced it. Of course not. I'm not a black guy. But it's pretty brutal. And it's even more brutal for dudes in Africa, I would say, that come from there. First of all, because they look different. There's a big difference from an American black and an African black. Very big difference. And their life situation there, he was talking to me a bit. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. So already there, it's kind of crap. But then they come here and they don't fit in. They're literally like subhuman in a way. That's how they're perceived and stuff, which is totally understandable. You come from another country, you're there, you look totally different. It's a culture shock. It's difficult for other people to be welcoming to people who look different and act very different and stuff. That's nature. That's just how it is. But he said even in his own community, he was not very welcome. I could bet you if that was a Tyrone guy, and he was like, because he was like still little inside, you could see, normal stature, normal size, kind of skinny and stuff, not very attractive looking face, and he was not welcomed into his community and stuff. He felt rejected by every side, and I feel like a lot of black dudes feel that way. He was even saying like if he doesn't act like tough or macho, he's like a joke basically. And yeah, I think it's pretty brutal. I just want to express myself on that subject. I feel like a lot of dudes can feel that and can relate to that in their own way. Sorry, I'll wait for the ambulance. If you're not manly and tough and strong and stuff, you're like no one. But we're all different. We're all extremely different. Some dudes are the more manly kind of dudes. Some guys are more intellectual. Some guys like this more, that more. Of course, we can all find masculinity within ourselves, but masculinity is not just one form. There's many different forms. And I think it's important to find it within ourselves and to find peace within ourselves, and not to go against our own nature just to satisfy a certain taste or a certain niche that is becoming popular in the day and age we live in, because you will be a lot more unhappy doing that than being true to yourself and true to your nature. Always still go for the best you can be, go to gym and hit all of these things, but you don't have to act or peer pressure yourself into acting a way you're not, man. There's only one you, whether you believe in nihilism or other things. I do not. There's one you, and we're all special in our own way, shape, and form, and it's important to give love and respect to ourselves, because if we don't, others won't. And that's the end of my little rant, my guys. Let me know what you think in the comment down below. Peace to you, my brothers.